Champions League round 3 predictions, okay, people? We've gotten a lot of them right, but we've got some wrong. So let us know what you think is right and wrong in this video. Don't forget to like this video too, because the Champions League is always the best competition in Europe to see, and so many exciting moments come from it. And right now, the leading goal scorers of the Champions League are both in Manchester, with Julian Alvarez and Rasmus Winterhuilen with 3 goals scored. Alvarez has an assist too, going with those 3 goals. So what a season he's going to be having in the Champions League. I believe he will. So Tuesday, we got an interesting game here to start with. Group A, Galatasaray, Bayern Munich. Right now, they're the top 2 of this group. What do you think's going to happen, Breton?
Well, I think this is the one that Galatasaray has probably had circled as if anything is going to screw up our 22-game unbeaten streak from back, dating back to last season. It likely is going to be this game. But you've also mentioned, some unevenness in the Bayern camp. I think Galatasaray is good enough to get a point out of this game. It is at home. Bayern will be coming in to Turkey to get this done. Davinson Sanchez and Bardashi, I think is his name. Their other center back has been very, very good for them. And Lucas Torreira has been very good, and he hasn't really gotten a whole lot of love this season. Yeah. And Aktürkoğlu, I'm a big fan of, but listen, they're not going to have a Cardi, and that's an issue. So whether or not they play for a draw, I'm not entirely sure. I doubt it, but I do think Bayern obviously has enough firepower, Harry Kane, that they likely will end Galatasaray's 22-game unbeaten streak. And my goodness, what a run it has been.
Harry Kane has 11 games, 10 goals, 5 assists. So that streak is going to be put to the test completely.
Yes, it will.
I'm going to go here with Bayern Munich because I do think that they have everything to win this game. I do respect Galatasaray's great form, but right now, Leroy Sané, Jamal Musiala is confident now with the German team too. Kimmich wants to show that he's a world-class player. It's in these moments. And I think a lot of Man United fans will be hoping that Galatasaray can make something happen, but Bayern Munich will have to just show their dominance in this group. And I think they're going to win this one. Do you agree?
I'm going to have to agree on this one, although I think Galatasaray does have enough to at least get a draw here. But no, going into this without Icardi is going to be tough because Icardi scored quite a bit. Relatively, I think it was Besiktas. They beat over the weekend 2-1, and he scored both goals before bowing out with injury. So I got all the respect in the world for Galatasaray, but I think Bayern's going to win this one. But the fun one, the fun next game is Manchester United. Is Manchester United versus Copenhagen, because I would pay a whole lot of money to see the Højlund brothers, the trio of brothers, actually face each other on the field. And I don't think it's going to happen. Rasmus obviously will likely start for United, but Copenhagen, for some reason that still do not know because they haven't been listening to our podcasts, there are twin Højlund brothers that play for Copenhagen. And one of them, most likely the midfielder, I think that's Oscar, or maybe that's Emil. One of them has a chance to actually play, but it's very unlikely they'll be on the pitch at the exact same time. But how cool is that? 3 Højlunds, 1 stadium. That's fun.
And pay attention to Rooney Bargi, the Swedish wonder kid that could surprise a lot of people at Old Trafford. And when a wonder kid surprises at Old Trafford, the world seems to know about him straight after. Remember Inaki Williams and Munyain.
Oh, yeah.
They went hella bold when they were wonder kids. I could see Rooney Bargi becoming a well-known name after this game at Old Trafford. I'm going to say United because this is a mandatory win, not just for their hopes in going through in the Champions League, but to solidify themselves as a Europa League team if they don't go through in their 3rd place. So I got to say United has to win this game. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree with that. And I think if there's another player that needs another big game to build momentum, it's going to be Harry Maguire.
True.
Because Erik ten Hag has got his back, that's for sure. And he put in a man of the match performance that for some reason people are starting a narrative that, Harry Maguire's been mistreated and this and that. It was against Sheffield United, people.
Exactly.
Please.
Exactly.
Just back off, okay? If he starts doing it routinely, then I'm sure people will start to switch their narrative some, and they'll give him a little more credit. But come on, it was one performance. We'll go from there. But Højlund also needs Rasmus Winter Højlund, the older brother. He needs some goals too. And what a fun way to do it than against the team your two brothers play for.
It's true. And remember last season that Man United were in the Champions League. Ronaldo was scoring the goals, and they weren't doing too good in the Premier League. So Rasmus Winter Højlund in the Champions League this season could be the scapegoat of maybe the bad form in the Premier League. Because if they go through, a lot of Man United fans will be starting to pay a lot more attention in the Champions League games. So that could be a positive beam if it goes well. So Group D, we got Inter Salzburg. This is a game that we'll get a lot of answers from it. And I'm gonna say this: Inter right now are one of the most exciting teams in Europe, no doubt in my mind. And they are dark horses to go to a final of the Champions League once again. They've got the players. They got Di Marco, Bastoni, like Lautaro, like Mkhitaryan, Sanyanoglu, Dumfries, that is a master in assists too. So start to pay a lot more attention to this team that even a Marco Thuram was the right decision to go get. So I think Inter are going to win this game, and they're going to win with maybe a goal suffered of Roko Simic. Shout out to you, Roko, and I hope this game goes well against Inter. Valuable experience that Roko will be playing in San Siro, a stadium that his father played, Dario Simic, at AC Milan.
That is amazing. Well, I hate to say it, but I really, and you've heard me say it before, and you've given me a little bit of a shtick for actually saying it, but Gerhard Struber is not the guy to be leading Salzburg forward again. I'll say it, I'll shout it from the rooftops. They dropped points over the weekend in the Bundesliga, which anyone that follows the Austrian Bundesliga knows that is unheard of. And I think,
though.
Yes,
was it Lask?
It was Lask. Yeah,
Lask is a good team,
but they are a good team. But come on, I mean, just come on. And it's not the first time. I mean, Salzburg is not that dominant this season. So this is I don't like the way Struber plays. I didn't like the way he played with the Red Bulls in MLS, and I don't like him here. So we'll see what happens. But they have not found a replacement for Matthias Jassel, who is now in Saudi Arabia. And I'm sorry if I butchered that last name again, but I agree with you on Inter. I'm starting to see the light. Marcus Thuram is one of the top assisters in Serie A. Lautaro Martinez is almost double Victor Osimhen in terms of goals in Serie A. And I understand this is not the Champions League, but it just shows how effective this team is playing together. And I feel like they're just getting started. And I have to say, the leader in big chances created in Serie A, he plays for Inter Milan. Do you have any idea who it might be?
No Barella? No, Di Marco. I'd say Bastoni. Bastoni or Di Marco?
You got it. Alessandro Bastoni. Back.
I've been watching them play. Bastoni's crucial for that build-up play. Those long passes and that left foot. He's one of the best left-footed center backs in the world. No doubt. I have no doubt saying that. And if Inter can retain Bastoni, Di Marco, Barella, Lautaro, that is a legacy team right there in the next 5 years.
It is.
I like that. It makes them Serie A contenders every single year. Something that we remember in the past. Juve, they were dominant like that. So, that's an interesting one. I didn't know he was actually the top guy in chances created, but it makes total sense in my view. But there's another game too in Group D that Benfica Real Sociedad on Tuesday too. What are your thoughts about that? Because people at home, you're gonna. So, I'm Portuguese, so I want to hear first from you, Breton.
Well, I think Real Sociedad is definitely good enough to eke out at least a point here. And if Benfica is not careful, they could steal all 3 points. Takefusa Kubo is, third in goals scored in La Liga at the moment in time. Yep. And I know there's quite a few that are at that 5 number, but he has been absolutely a joy to watch for Real Sociedad. And there's a supporting cast that is all healthy behind him that Benfica really needs to come out punching.
I agree.
And I don't think we tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've seen Benfica at their best yet this season.
I agree. But we've seen Benfica beat Porto twice. So that's a good result for Benfica. But I agree with you. We haven't seen the same Benfica that we saw last season, as stable as a team as they were. And why is that? Because Benfica lost Gonçalo Ramos, Grimaldo, and Enzo Fernandes. And they only replaced one of those players, which was João Neves with Enzo Fernandes. I'm not saying he's as good as Enzo Fernandes, but I'm saying he does the job, and he's going to be such a baller. For all the listeners, please pay attention to João Neves in this Champions League game against Real Sociedad. He emulates the passion, the conviction, and every Benfica's fans' hearts on the pitch. He's going to be balling out guaranteed. He was called up for Portugal and at 19, okay? So this is a player that you should be paying a lot more attention, a wonder kid. But yes, if Benfica, this is a prediction I'm going to do. If Benfica are going to beat Real Sociedad at home, they must play Musa in front with Orsens, Rafa, and Di Maria. Frederick Orsens must be playing at the left wing because off-ball, defensive duties, he's one of the best players in the Champions League. I'm very confident saying this. Frederick Orsens. And if you don't know about him, you might as well know him now. He's played 8 positions. 8 positions since he's arrived at Benfica. Fullback, winger, midfield, he can do everything. Striker, I still haven't seen goalie. And look how I say it. I still haven't seen, because I'm not going to doubt Frederick Orsens. He's been vital, okay, with Roger Schmidt. I think Benfica are going to win this game because it's a must-win game, okay? And if Benfica don't win it, it's even going to be complicated for them to go to the Europa League. And the games at home, they must lock them in. Because this is a tough group, man. This is like a group of death. With Real Sociedad, Salzburg, and Inter, every team is top. Top team. So, Benfica, come on. Go bold and win it.
But this midfield is just so underrated in La Liga for Real Sociedad. I know you're going to be talking the Benfica side, which is why I feel the need, because I love this matchup. This is a game I want to watch. I'm going to be watching whatever their kick around thing, so I won't be able to catch the whole game, which kind of stinks. But Brais Mendes, you've got Martin Zubamendi, you've got Mikel Merino, and they actually have started to play Arsene Zakarian, who was one of the best players, one of the best young players in the Russian Premier League. And I love this midfield because it's just getting crafted out. You've got Aryarzabal, you've got Takefusa Kubo in a win over Mallorca this weekend, came off the bench and scored. I think he scored the goal or assisted the goal. So their front 6 or so is just incredibly intriguing and very, very dangerous. So this is one of my favorite matchups of this entire match week, for sure.
Because this match will be very important for the whole season of both teams. But yes, Merino, what a player, okay? Defensive mid of Real Sociedad. But let us know your predictions until now. Are you agreeing with us? If not, tell us down below. And don't forget to like this video for more predictions of game weeks just like this one. Oh, Group B now. I'm going to go here with the blockbuster for many London fans, okay? Sevilla, Arsenal. Sevilla that drew with Real Madrid this past weekend. A match that was quite heated against Rudiger against Ramos. Sergio Ramos versus Rudiger. I hated to see that. But I love to see the hugs at the end of Bellingham with Ramos. A legend and a legend in the making, both together.
The video of Sergio Ramos trying to put a smile on Rudiger's face is just it's just wonderful. I think we'll see that again and again. But I think it's going to get heated in this one too. Sevilla, Arsenal, and this is in Sevilla. So, what do you think?
I go Arsenal.
I mean, heading into this,
I go Arsenal.
You think Arsenal's going to win? Okay.
I think Arteta will be. Look, I'm not going to say because Arteta's Spanish, he knows a lot about Sevilla. But what I got to say is I'm sure Arteta knows how to beat Sevilla at home. I'm very confident of the coaching of Arteta, because if you see that Chelsea game, they come back from 2-0 losing to 2-2. So this team shows a lot of resilience, and I think Bukayo Saka, if he's back, he's definitely going to be massively... No, he is going to be back. He's going to be massively important for this fixture. So my doubt is if Gabriel Jesus is going to score the goals, but I'm going to go with Arsenal too. I believe Arsenal are going to win this game.
Okay, and I will hedge, and I will say I think it's going to be another draw. I think the Arsenal comeback was jump-started more so or completed more so by the fact that Robert Sanchez gifted them with some cruddy distribution from the back, gifted them a goal and some impetus that eventually led to the Trossard goal too. So I think it's going to be tougher than people give them credit for, and I think Arsenal getting a point in Seville is not the worst thing in the world.
But we
Move
agreed
on,
that
dust it off, and
Arsenal's going to finish top in this group in the Champions League, right?
Yeah, we do. And because the other two, Lens, even though that loss was interesting, and PSV Eindhoven, Arsenal's the only team that's actually put PSV Eindhoven in their place because obviously they are killing it in the Eredivisie, which we'll get to. So, yeah, I still think Arsenal's going to land on top here, which is why I think 1 point is good. And then, yeah, they'll be fine their final three.
That's an interesting one, and I hope to see Thomas Partey starting this game that I think was one of the biggest struggles against Chelsea. I didn't like Jorginho too much in that game. But you said PSV. I'm going to go with PSV in this game, okay? They're unbeaten in the Eredivisie, only wins because of Bakayoko, Noah Lang, one of the most exciting young duos in the wingers, okay? In wingers conversation, okay? So I think PSV are going to win this game with Joey Veerman. That you love Joey Veerman having a masterclass in this one.
I am about ready. I don't buy shirts with names on the back, but I am ready to get a Joey Veerman shirt. Now, I just think he's such an underrated playmaker, and he needs to take the next step out of the Eredivisie to maybe solidify that. And I'll be honest, I'd love to know in the comment section where people think his next step should actually be. But you mentioned it. Bakayoko's on fire again these days. Luke de Jong has cooled off a little bit, but I mean, if you've got Goose Till scoring in 5 consecutive Eredivisie games coming in, they've just got these interchangeable parts, and they play a very attractive style of play. They've won 9 in a row in the Eredivisie. They're 9-0, no draws. They've scored over 30 goals, so they do it in a very, very attractive fashion, but it doesn't change the fact that when you go to the Champions League, you play much better teams on par. And Arsenal put them in their place. And either they learn from it and beat Lyon in France, which some other teams have struggled to do, then it's got to get done. It's got to get done. So I think PSV, this will be hopefully. I did say originally I didn't think Sevilla was going to go all the way through. I said it was going to be Arsenal, PSV in second. So PSV does need to get these 3 points for that to be a real possibility.
And it's starting to be more and more likely that that's going to be the case because this PSV team is balling out, just like you said. Luke de Jong or Ricardo Pepi. They've got options. So, yes, I'm going to go with PSV 2 on this one. Last group of on the Tuesday, we have here a huge match. I would love to go to Braga to see this one because Braga, Real Madrid, okay, people? Real Madrid is going to go to the Pereira. What are your predictions on this one, mate? I'm shook, mate.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, that's just, what a game to be at. I mean, I feel like that's pretty historic. Is this the first time Real Madrid has ever visited?
I don't know officially, but I think it is. I haven't recalled of such a big team going to the Braga Stadium. Like, Real Madrid. Jude Bellingham is going to be in the Braga Stadium? Like, unreal.
That's awesome. Well, obviously Braga are going to need to get something from this to hold things. And I think there is a weak chink in the armor of Real Madrid, and that is their ability to actually deal with crosses. I saw and was able to verify that their 10 goals conceded this season, 8 have come from a cross. From not being able to deal with a cross. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Eder Militao has been injured. He was their aerial presence for the most part. And then when you put Alaba in there, it seems like teams, at least in La Liga, have figured out how to get that. Now, the issue is Vinicius and Rodrigo, and they're scoring goals left and right, and Jude Bellingham too. So just because you know how to potentially score against them doesn't mean you can actually do it. So Braga's going to have to I don't know. Get creative. But yeah, I got to say Real Madrid is going to win this.
And this will be a good showcase of the talent that Braga has. Braga has Al Musrati, that for me is a Premier League defensive mid-level type player. They've got Simon Banza, Abel Ruiz, Ricardo Horta, that is selected for the Portuguese national team, the best Braga player ever, and Bruma. Bruma is balling out this season and is the best player of Braga, in my opinion. And Álvaro Jallo, what a buy that he was. Remember these names because they're going to be involved in football in the next 10 years at the highest level, in my view. Braga has talent. And Niakite, the center back, he's young too. Good player. Next to José Fonte, the experience. And Moutinho. Braga got João Moutinho. So that was an interesting move too. I'm going to say a draw maybe. No, but if Braga gets a draw, it's a win, okay? But the most likely to win, obviously, is Real Madrid. So I just wanted to say to the spectators, because some people can be putting a bet or two after seeing this video. And I don't want to be deceiving you with the decision, because Real Madrid is more likely to win this game, in my view.
But from a bet perspective, I'm not going to say I'm comfortable saying, but I don't think it's out of the question that Braga strikes first.
I think Braga can score, yeah. Both teams scoring is
I think Braga
reasonable.
Could strike first. And, all bets are off, literally and figuratively if they score first. And Real Madrid starts to actually fight for the game and work for it. But that midfield, Valverde and Camavinga, and it'll be a spectacle, especially for those that are going to the game. You need to go to the game, Alex. Get to that game.
Benfica Real Sociedad. But let's wait and see. It's a nice one too. Kubu live? Come on. But Union Berlin Napoli.
This is a fall from grace type of situation.
Braga beat Union Berlin.
Braga beat Union Berlin. Union Berlin have lost 8 in a row after winning their first 2. So this is the purest definition of we honestly need to score some goals, win some points, or we are in trouble. I mean, they could even be in the relegation zone in the Bundesliga by the end of the season if they're not careful, because
Ajax
it's Ajax vibes, except, obviously Union Berlin's story over the last 6-7 years has just been insane. So sometimes a really quick rise is also met with a relatively quick demise, but I hope I'm wrong about that. But Union Berlin's bad form and married with Kvaratskhelia cooking again for Napoli leads me to believe that Napoli is going to wipe the floor with them. I think the only saving grace here for Union Berlin is the fact that Victor Osimhen is out. That's the only saving grace here. So we'll see. But Union have lost 8 in a row. And that, there's only one way to fix that.
I'm not going to say Osimhen. I'm not going to say Raspadori is as good as Osimhen, but I think Raspadori could be scoring in this game. Seeing how things are.
He's got a chance.
8 in a row, and Kvaratskhelia played really well, this weekend. Kvaratskhelia could be back to his best form in this game, too. So I'm going to go Napoli, too.
Yeah. Okay. I had a feeling, but he just needed to link up with his Georgian teammates, have a good game or two during the international break, and he is back to scoring. I think he scored a brace over the weekend versus Verona. So it's nice to have Kvaratskhelia back, even if the other half of that wonderful duo is not quite healthy. But yeah, Napoli's going to win, and Napoli's going to need this win in Group C to solidify second place to, I think, hold off the challenge of Braga. But Braga, it's a win. C is a fun group.
It's a win for Braga to go to Europa League. So I just want to say that to Braga fans, and it's excellent to see a Portuguese team not named Sporting, Porto, or Benfica to be in this decision and in the highest level, because the Champions League is just that. So Group E on Wednesday, we have Feyenoord Lazio. Arne Slot's boys, I think they're going to win this because Santiago Jimenez is unstoppable. Unstoppable.
Unbelievable.
What is he doing? Mauricio Sarri will have a plan, but I don't think he can contain the Mexican striker.
I think the only thing that's going on here is there is a question mark around Santi's health. That's it. He apparently left the game after, I don't know, scoring a goal and having a couple assists or something. But he was forced to exit with an injury, and I have not seen anything about how serious it is. So please tell us below if that's the case, because without Santi Jimenez, I mean, they could put Igor Paixão up top, I'm sure, and he would do just fine.
He's good.
But the Santi Jimenez Express, especially for Feyenoord, is a very real thing. He's got 13 goals, 3 assists, in 8 Eredivisie appearances, and he has been chomping at the bit to be here, to be ready for a Champions League opener, and who best to do it against than Lazio. But behind him, even if Jimenez can't go because he's injured or something, you got to give more credit to Calvin Stengs and what he's done after a few injury-riddled years, trip to Nice, trip to Royal Antwerp, and now he is back in the Eredivisie where he started with AZ Alkmaar back in the day, but now he's killing it with Feyenoord. 3 goals, 6 assists this season in 9 appearances, and I really feel that even if Jimenez is out, they will still at least get a point against Lazio. This Lazio team should not scare them.
I'm going to say Feyenoord wins it, actually, in Rotterdam.
Yeah?
I believe in them. I believe in Arne Slot a lot more. Because Arne Slot brought him to their Conference League final. So, twice. Yeah. So, I think they can do good against Lazio, and I'm going to go with Feyenoord. But in the same group, we got Celtic.
Yes.
That at home, they're always a terrific team against Atlético de Madrid. And it's not Real Madrid, but Atlético de Madrid is balling out right now, okay? They're top 3 in La Liga. Griezmann is unreal. Griezmann, in 2023 in La Liga, has 17 goals and 11 assists. Okay, so
crazy.
It's Griezmann's time. He's all those FM stats are in his head, and he's putting them in action. Oh my days.
Absolutely. He apparently is only 8 goals away from becoming the all-time leading goal scorer in Atletico Madrid history.
Oh, he's going to do that. Unreal achievement by Griezmann. He's going to be one of the most underrated players in the history of football. For what he's done for France and now Atletico?
I would have to agree. I think it'd be nice to see him not end. I mean, he's only 31, 32 years old, but he has everything setting up nicely for a run at the next Ballon d'Or, or a run in the top 3 or top 5 of the next Ballon d'Or if France can do wonders in Euros. But it's amazing to me because the whole Barcelona thing really kept him in that underrated because
it's true.
I don't know how to say this best because a lot of people felt when he was having issues, trials and tribulations at Barcelona, it was the fact that he was overrated or whatever. But it has led to people underrating him ever since then. And I think he's actually preferred it that way because he has been underrated playing for France, which is really hard to do considering France is a favorite in pretty much every matchup they go into. And on top of that, what he's done at Atletico Madrid, when we were literally making fun of him last season about, he's going to play his 19 minutes off the bench and he's going to do this and he's going to, it is amazing to me what Antoine Griezmann has done. With that said, this is Celtic Park. There is a 12th man. They always have a chance to win at Celtic Park. But Atletico Madrid or, Antoine Griezmann Madrid right now, even with all the injuries that they've got, they're going to win this. They're going to win this.
I don't think we were making fun of him, but it was the fact that if he played more than 30 minutes, Atletico de Madrid would have to pay a lot more than they did to get Antoine Griezmann. So it was unfortunate that he was left in a situation like that. It wasn't shown a lot of respect, but Barca had to fix a problem, and Atletico had to gain a world-class player. And both teams,
it's true.
That's what happened. So I think Atletico could be winning this game, but I'm going to say, because out of respect for Celtic, let's go. Get a draw, okay? Get a draw in this game. Show the resilience. Show the home fortress. Show the history that you've shown in the past against top teams. Come on, Celtic Glasgow.
Yeah, and a quick shout out to a Honduran, a CONCACAF, he's coming up. He's not yet really well known within CONCACAF, but Luis Palma has been phenomenal since he came over to Celtic. Another great find for them. They plucked him out of the Greek Super League, and he has hit the ground running there. So hopefully he gets some time against Atleti because he's a fun watch, even if I don't like rooting for Honduran players. But he's a good find for Celtic, and they've been very good at quote-unquote finding good finds thanks to Big Ange and what he had set up previous to him moving on. So cool.
That's true.
But Atleti wins. They're too strong. too strong.
And now in Group H, which is it's not a difficult game. It's a difficult game for Shakhtar. Barcelona, Shakhtar. I think both of us, we have Barca winning this game. Am I right, Breton?
It's a tune-up for one of the biggest matches of the season, or one of the best footballing weekends of the season, which is next weekend, right? We've got the Manchester Derby and we've got El Clasico,
exactly,
on top of a whole bunch of other games going on. But Barcelona will use this as a tune-up. They've got Balde back. They've got Yamal back. They would love to have De Jong back, but we'll see. And I just think that's what they're going to be looking at. I think if Shakhtar's not careful, this could get out of hand.
I agree. It could get out of hand. It got out of hand with Antwerp, in which João Felix had an absolute masterclass. And on Barca, I want to say, this season, Gavi has clearly shown this season that he's a leader, and he's under 20, okay? Gavi right now is Gavi this season is a top 3 player for Barcelona in terms of importance. The retention on ball that he's been having, dictating the tempo, the consistency, and the intensity in duels that Gavi has is unreal at such a young age. And I'm going to say he's a must-start for Spain and a must-starter right now for Barcelona. He's put himself in that conversation this season. Last season, he was growing towards it. This season, he is it. He's the guy.
And my favorite part of Gavi is the fact that he has like young Wayne Rooney blood in him. He's a bulldog. I mean, he wears it. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he fights for everything. You remember Wayne Rooney when he came in, was making tackles as like a 17-year-old that he probably had no business making. And he just had it's not a disrespect, but
it's the audacity.
It's the fact. Exactly. It's the fact that every tackle is important. Everything he does is important, and I love it. It reminds me of when, obviously, 2 very different players, but it reminds me of like that pugnacious, just want to scrap type of feeling that Wayne Rooney brought with him when he came into the league for Everton. And I might be dating myself by saying this, but Gavi doing what he's doing at 19 is
it's a good comparison,
unreal.
Because I think Gavi won't be leaving Barcelona in the next 5 years. If he leaves, it's because Barcelona want him to leave. But Gavi's pure intention, I think he wants to stay and actually become a legend in this club. And that's beautiful to see, because he's got the talent to do that. He can be a top 5 player in the world in the future if he manages to keep on growing with Xavi. And Xavi's showing that he's the right coach to develop these kinds of players like Balde, Gavi, and Pedri. Okay, so going with Group H has another game. That's Royal Antwerp against Porto. Antwerp that has Antwerp that has Arthur Vermaelen and Mandela Keita. Both had their debuts for the Belgium national team. Exciting talents, but I think Porto's going to win this game. Sergio Conceição, when it comes to Champions League, when it comes to the big moments, he gets the wins. And this Porto team against Antwerp away is a must-win game for Porto in order to go through. I think Porto will win this game at Antwerp in Belgium.
I'm going to agree with you here. Antwerp has won 1 out of their last 7, though they do have the talent on the field. I think this is going to be a coming-out party in a good way for Porto's offense. I think it needs to be, because I don't think, will the real Mehdi Taremi stand up, or Evan Nielsen, or your leading scorer right now, I believe it's like still Wanderson, is it not? Galeno?
Yeah, Galeno scored 2 goals against Shakhtar. He turned up.
It's true.
He's a great player.
So I think Porto needs to step it up. And as you already mentioned, right, Benfica's already beaten them twice this year. Porto needs a jump start, because it should be, when all is said and done, it should be Barcelona and FC Porto moving out of this group.
I agree. And Porto, I'm going to say it could be bold for some people. This is a bold statement for some people, but Diogo Costa is one of the best goalkeepers in the Champions League right now. He's 23. Okay. He's the starter of Portugal. And this Porto defense hasn't had Pep, hasn't had Marcano, hasn't had Fabio Cardoso and David Carmo constantly playing starting. Okay, they've had to rotate them a lot because of injuries, yellow cards, and Diogo Costa has been consistently there. And Porto's got the less goals, they are the team that suffered the less goals in the Primera Liga right now because
There you
of
go.
Diogo
Okay.
Costa. He's the key. So I really like Diogo Costa, and I think he'll be vital in this win against Royal Antwerp. Oi, but we got a group of death. We said that the Benfica group could be considered maybe the group of death, but this is actually the group of death of the Champions League Group F. Paris
Yes.
Saint-Germain against AC Milan. Whoa, that's an interesting match that I think Kylian Mbappe will have to go bold and will go bold. Do you agree with me, Bretson?
Kylian Mbappe needs to. He had 7 goals last season, right, in the Champions League, and he's only managed 1 in his first 2 appearances so far, which I know it's like, well, it's only been 2 appearances. It's Kylian Mbappe.
Exactly.
He had 10 goal involvements in 7 Champions League appearances last season, and great. I mean, people like you kicking off 2 braces or scoring 8 goals in the Ligue 1 season, but it doesn't matter if you can't do it here. So AC Milan is a much better team than, last year at this time. But AC Milan have got this gauntlet ahead, because not only do they face, they've got Juve, which unfortunately we're filming this before the Juve game. Then they've got PSG. And then they've got Napoli on the weekend. So it's going to be a massive weekend for Mike Mignon, for Fikayo Tomori, and for the U.S. crew that's part of this. But I think PSG has got to be chomping at the bit, simply because the last time out they got their butts handed to them by Newcastle, who had not played a Champions League in over 2 decades. So
That's true.
we'll see. There's blood in the water here.
I
There's
think
blood
both
in the water
teams
here,
will
and
score. I think both teams will score in this game. And Paris Saint-Germain against AC Milan. I think Mbappe is a mandatory goal scorer in this game. Gonçalo Ramos, I would like to see him turn up. I think he can do very good in games like this. But Rafa Leão. If Kylian Mbappe is the best player of PSG, Rafa Leão is no doubt in my mind the best player of AC Milan. Rafa has to turn up big time against PSG, and it could be happening, because when Rafael Leão is in form, he's one of the best wingers in the world. That's why they went through so long in the Champions League last season. It was because of Rafael Leão, until they faced, obviously, Inter Milan, that did beat them in the semifinals. I'm going to say Paris Saint-Germain because it's a mandatory win for them to go through with Newcastle, that I believe will be passing through in this group. But yes, Newcastle I'm mentioning. Newcastle Dortmund. What are you thinking here?
Well, I have to throw a little mea culpa out there, because I have been very critical of Dortmund's transfer activity heading into this. They have been very effective. They haven't been playing wonderfully exciting football. I would love for Edin Terzic to actually play a Gio Reyna, which he did play 30 minutes the other day, so we'll see what happens there. But they've been incredibly effective, so I have to give them credit where credit is due. But this is St. James Park. This is Newcastle have not lost in 8. And I just feel like Newcastle is really, really buzzing at this moment in time. So I think it's going to be close, and I think it'll be a 1-0 win for Newcastle. I think the defense will save the day there, and I think Dortmund will maybe come back down to earth so far this season, because I think they've only lost once this season, and Dortmund is very much in the race. But you can't point to anyone in their team that you're like, this is the dude. This is the guy that is going to tear up Newcastle and St. James Park. Maybe. I mean, he's been much better. This is the best Daniel Malen that we have seen since he has joined Dortmund. So you have to give him credit there. But Haller is not firing. And it's a good thing. They're still getting results, and they're not firing on all cylinders just yet. So maybe that is a plus, but I just feel like Newcastle is the better unit, the better team. I mean, heck, they're getting a goal and 2 assists from Jacob Murphy. I don't know what to tell you. This week it's going to...
That assist was 3 passes only to Callum Wilson in a counterattack. It went to Pope, Murray, and then the assist went straight away to Callum Wilson. Like, that goal shows exactly the style of play of Eddie Howe. Right there, last weekend against Crystal Palace. So I agree with you. I'm going to go with Newcastle too to win this game. Last group.
There it is.
Don't forget, we're in the last group, but come on, please. If you're listening until now, comment down below your predictions until now, and don't forget to like this video. Last group here with Leipzig against Red Star. What are you thinking here? Xavi Simons masterclass.
Yeah, Lois Openda masterclass. He's going to continue his form from the weekend. He just scored the fastest goal in RB Leipzig history, and I think that's only going to continue because Openda. You got to remember how much
He scored the
roster
fastest hat trick,
turnover.
the fastest hat trick too in Liga last season.
Did he really?
Yeah,
oh,
he
yeah,
did.
yeah. You're right. He did. Oh my.
What?
Yeah,
What the
that's
hell?
For
He just
Lille,
doesn't
right.
score for Belgium.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And
Oh my
hey,
gosh.
that is a little challenge that should be accepted by Tedesco to get that figured out at some point because he could be a heck of a weapon for them for the future. But no, RB Leipzig with their roster turnover, they are just figuring out their form. They are just figuring out this squad. They are going to be more of a second half season squad, and they're already strong right now. So I really do believe, I mean, RB Leipzig will get by Red Star, and I also believe that they are going to be one of the dark horses to go further than most people are giving them credit for in the knockout rounds in the season because they'll have a January window under their belt where they'll be able to address some things. And Xavi Simons will actually know how to play more with Lois Openda and you know all the other new faces within this Leipzig team. So I'm saying Leipzig over Red Star, and I don't think it's going to be close.
And another player that I absolutely love of RB Leipzig is Seifeld. Seifeld will be the key of Austria in the next 10 years and the key of Red Bull Leipzig, especially when Dani Olmo and Xavi Simons leave. He will be given a lot more responsibility, and he's doing really good this season, in my view. I go with RB Leipzig to win this game. And last but not least, the young boys that against Man City, they'll be the old boys on the pitch, okay? They can't keep up with this Man City team in terms of transitions. I go Man City hard, okay, in this game. I think it's the easiest game to predict. Do you agree with me, Breton?
I would agree with you, and I think the only wild card that could be thrown out there is if for some reason Pep decides to rotate. And I still think that they'd be good enough to likely get the win here. So
Rico
yeah,
Lewis and winger?
I think we will see that. We likely will see that. Yeah, you never know.
That would be an interesting thing. I think Oscar Bob will maybe play this game, and the fact that we see Oscar Bob more, that will be something positive. I think Man City win this game confidently in the Champions League. But yes,
well, let's just say if
sorry,
if Cole Palmer was still playing for City, this would have been the game where he bags 2 goals and 2 assists.
Oh, but it's good for Cole that we see him at Chelsea because now Cole Palmer can be said that he's an English national team player in the next call-ups, okay? So that's what he's putting himself in the talk for. So people, if you're listening until now to these Champions League predictions, don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section and like this video.